future is now.
Hi, everyone. Cheryl Cran here. Really excited to have you join our next episode on the Next Now podcast. And I have a really special guest with me today. I have Marcelina from Nelnet. She is the Director of Program and Change Management. I'm going to let her introduce herself in a moment. But Marcelina, woot, woot. So excited that you could join me today. Thank you for your time.
I know. This is going to be so much fun.
I know. I've been looking forward to this for weeks now. So why don't we start off by just telling everybody about yourself and your role at Nelnet, and then we'll get right into the other stuff. Yeah.
Sure. I'm currently in Northeast, so I'm literally the opposite side of the continent from you, Cheryl. Couldn't get any further. You'll probably notice my accent. I'm originally from Poland. I was born there and I moved to US when I was 16. And my career kind of evolved from very creative disciplines to small business, financial companies, etc. So I kind of fell in love with project management because I was really focused on trying to figure out how to deal with various projects that were assigned to me. So then I fell in love with the project management communities, and I got my PMP and Scrum certifications. And that was about 12 years ago. That's when I joined Nelnet. So throughout the 12 years, I kind of traveled through all of the different project management ranks within Nelnet, from managing to developing programs and processes. Then that led to facilitating workshops for professionals and small business professionals, and then led to teaching actually project management at graduate level and PMP certifications. And currently, as you said, I'm a director of program and change management, which is a bit of an odd role. I'm in a very dynamic, initiative-driven role right now, focused on really navigating different teams, different departments and divisions, and focusing on very complex and projects and development of process and kind of that process change within the businesses.
Wonderful. And just to add on to that question, tell everybody what Nelnet does as a business, just so we're all on the same playing field, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Nelnet is an extremely diverse company, and most people don't even realize how many businesses we have under the Nelnet umbrella. So we're most known for the servicing of student loans, but there's so much more. There's pieces of technology, of product development. We're even in renewable, we're in investment world. So we have several different divisions in communications, although one of our companies as well. So I truly would love people to check us out. Go to nelnetinc.com and look through the different capabilities and businesses that we house under the big umbrella. It's vast.
So bottom line, very vast, very complex, lots of change, which leads us into the next question, which is, your title includes change management. What changes are you helping to navigate within the organization? I know that's a question that probably would take much longer to answer, but will give us your best here with the time we have. Yeah.
Yes, I'll try. Unlike most people in the change management area, I'm not involved in the human resource culture change. I'm more involved in change initiatives that center around business growth and those seemingly indirect changes that ultimately impact the bottom line. Mm-hmm. So I really have the insight into how does change impact the stakeholders, the team on the project, the end users. So really getting to know, kind of from both sides of before and after how people are reacting to change. Over the last 2 years, I've kind of divided my time between large scale, more technical product-based projects and also change relative to business diversification. This one in particular is very interesting because kind of the underlying aspects of that change is all focused on how do we create a self-centric point of view instead of looking at opportunities from operational perspective. How do we look at it from a sales perspective and growth perspective? What kind of tools do we need to better communicate and track our growth? How do we enable those conversations between very diverse business lines that oftentimes don't even really, they're just completely different businesses. They don't align. And then prior to that, I was involved in some really fun projects, like, for example, carrying an initiative to change the perception of project management and the value of delivering successful projects as a company. The objective was to really reposition us in the marketplace. So that pertained to developing processes, promoting, really going out there and showing our customers how we can deliver successfully technology and kind of take that stress off of our customers, because I think that's what people feel the most. They're very tense around big projects, big changes coming up, and our whole model was, we'll take that and take care of it, so you can sit back and relax. That was a fantastic initiative.
I love it. And you know what we have in common? I think when you and I met, when I did some work, I did the Future is Human keynote for your group of leaders. And when we work together, what we have in common is that exciting view of the future of work and how it is. I love that you said the customers, it is people first. And we really are at a crux now of technology enabling humans to better communicate, for us to really do that at a higher level. I think your title needs to also have future of work in there too. Director of program
future of work
and future of work. Yeah. Let's just add that to your resume, shall we? Yeah. Let's go to the next question, because I think it's relevant to, my area is change leadership, future of work. Yours is as well within the organization. Why do you think it's so hard for people to change? Like, I know that could be a whole separate episode as well, but what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yes, there are probably 10,000 reasons, right? I think the three main reasons that really jump out at me. One is the sense of control. It's, change is oftentimes triggered by external factors, which means it's not something that I initiated. It's not something that I decided for my own life. That makes me uncomfortable, right? I'm going to push back and resist. So it's kind of that concept of letting go when you're sitting on an airplane and you're looking out the window and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I sure wish that, that pilot had enough sleep or training, right? It's that kind of sense of nervousness that then translates to organizational change. So if you don't know your leadership, if you don't know what their motives are, if you don't understand their philosophy, that's going to make you even more uncomfortable about the change. Again, less control, right? The second aspect, I think it goes back to those of us who love rituals, love the daily habit, the autopilot approach to life. So again, if you're trying to inject change into a heavily structured life, team, organization, insert whatever, it becomes extremely disrupting. And last but not least, I think the most important is something that we often hide, and that's the insecurity. Yeah. Right? Not believing we can survive or even thrive in change or because of the change, fearing of being seen, uncovered. And in most cases, we wake up on the other side and the change is better than we thought, right? But there are situations where we do uncover problems. They surface to the surface much quicker. Take COVID, right? We're going to use this as an example for decades. You and I talked about this, how it triggered this awakening in many of us. We changed jobs, we moved, we took dust off those plans that were very dormant, and we took them and we acted on them. And again, all those cracks were made more visible. So it's really taking a step back and looking back at your track record and really seeing your success record in adapting to change. I bet it's not as bad as you think. You do adapt very quickly. So if we look at those aspects of, kind of resisting change, I think we can explain them to ourselves and make it a little easier on ourselves.
Yeah. I love what you're saying, because it really, that's what our research, and that's what I share with audiences as well, is it's really all about psychology. Change is a deeply psychological process. So everything you mentioned, control, autonomy, where am I in the scheme of things? Insecurity. Am I going to look as effective with this change or not? Like, all of that's completely valid. And I think that, that's why for me and the work that I did with your group, it's all about the future is human, in that we have to really accept and acknowledge that when it comes to change, the people part is the most challenging. The technology is simple. You can program it. It can happen. Yeah. The people part. And I think, for all our listeners, Marcelina, that's really in all the work I'm doing with my clients, leaders are tired right now. They're very tired because they're navigating. And that's why I want to ask you your next question about Nelnet, because leaders are navigating this ambiguity and they have their own psychological process while trying to lead others through their psychological process, right? So, in our research, we found we're firmly in a workers' market, and workers' market means the workers are holding the cards today. We're in a market where it's a shortage of workers. It's predicted that's going to be the case for a while. How has Nelnet experienced this? What's your turnover rate? What's your burnout? How have you experienced the Great Resignation? I think people like to hear from companies like yours, to hear real life stories of how are you dealing with this? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll speak from my point of view, and I do have a unique point of view because I interact with so many teams, so many divisions. So my point of view is really almost like face to face with those teams. I think we felt similar impacts as other organizations. We're not unique in that aspect. What we've excelled at, which was almost mind-blowing, was that shift to working from home. Seemingly overnight, everyone was remote. I have no idea how they did this. This was magic. And I think having really well-defined disaster recovery plans and governance plans and IT infrastructure, that was very helpful. Then the other aspect, what we've observed, and I think the biggest impact was around acquiring talent. And two things happened. On one hand, it was extremely difficult because, everyone had all these opportunities. You got to choose, through 10 different offers, right? But on the other hand, because prior to COVID, we were mainly in-person physical office, now we're remote. Now our opportunity pool opened up. Now we're looking nationally and globally. So it's kind of a balancing act here. The other thing that I noticed, there was some power shift between associates and management. While Nelnet was always very open, very transparent. I call it the mom and pop business, but it's a large corporation that feels like a small business. You do hear the voice of the associates much more vividly right now. And I think for me, one of the things that helped us was kind of that employee-employer loyalty. That helped because we have a lot of tenured associates. And probably the biggest aha moment over the last 2 years has to do with the change in perception. You don't have to sit next to me to deliver value and to be effective. That, I think, for many of us within the organization was a huge aha moment.
Agreed. So have you had any turnover or have you been at the whim of the Great Resignation? Has that affected your company at all?
We had a turnover, but, I don't think it was as significant as other companies.
Okay.
Again, I think it goes back to that loyalty and we do have a large number of tenured employees, and our company really takes care of us. The other thing that is great with Nelnet that we can leverage in situations like that, we truly are an ecosystem of opportunities. So many people don't realize that there are so many different companies underneath that umbrella. Most people change jobs between 3 to 5 years. You can literally be in a completely different role, different market, different technology, different product. So that's the same company.
That's the key right there, Marcelina. I would say for any listeners, if your organization has career pathing or opportunity within itself, then you're not going to experience that great resignation impact as much as other companies will. So that's a good point. Excellent.
Absolutely. Quitting
So
should
this
be the
is
last option in situations
yes.
like that, really.
Yeah, well, and see, in your case, what I love about it is if somebody is wanting to learn more about a different operation, the opportunities are there. And so you get that
1000%.
multi-industry experience within your own brand. And
Absolutely.
that's a huge competitive advantage.
I'm a living proof of that. I've
Yes.
literally had almost a different role every 2 years.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah.
And for those that are listening, if you get disheartened because your company is not that, then what we have to accept in this world of hybrid and workers market is that people will be seeking new opportunities,
Yes.
looking for growth. It's normal to where we are now. And to your point about associates and the power dynamic is shifting, that we're moving to a shared leadership future, not the hierarchical. Would you agree?
1000%. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity, I think, for organizations to really change that perspective
Yes.
and think more broadly. What are we offering? What is the next step that we can anticipate for our employees, for our associates? How
Love
can
it.
we make their career stronger and make them better?
Yes, because if we focus on that people human, in other words, rather than that fear attitude of let's hang on to our people
Yes.
or let's, that's not reality. But if we're helping
No.
people be successful and go on to more success, that has a ripple effect that benefits everyone. So
It's kind of like the saying where the more you want to control something, the less control you have.
Is that true?
It's
that
like
is
the more
true.
you want to hold on to someone, the quicker you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, again, psychology, very true.
Absolutely.
So, I think people listening or watching are going to tune into the fact that you have a lot of energy. You're very passionate. I have a lot of energy. I'm very passionate. You and I together were like, we're soul sisters. But let me ask you, why are you so passionate about change? Like what drives you? What keeps you going? Yeah. Why? Yeah.
I think my answer is going to be a little bit not the most popular answer. Okay.
Cool.
For some, it may be quite boring.
We're good with that. That's all good.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yes. I think I became passionate about change and change management because of my first love of project management. Really, I realized that change management was that missing link to taking project execution to the next level. I mean, if you really look at it, both disciplines are in perfect harmony. They complement each other. Proper initiation of change helps you stage the project initiation and so on. So proper closing helps you really sustain the change later on. Just going away from this theory, I can go on this for weeks.
Totally.
I'll try not to.
That's
but
okay.
I do believe that every expert project manager should have a good understanding of change management and should be able to navigate change management concepts, especially when it comes to change resistance and that human side of change.
Yes.
It is instrumental in navigating stakeholder just situations, not just conflict, because it's not always conflict, but how people are resisting your request, how they're resisting project activities. All of that really goes back to change management. Another thing that keeps me so interested in this is right now we're talking about change. It's a hot topic. We really talk a lot about it, but I think within 20 years, it's just going to become an integral part of any organization. It's going to be much less intrusive, much more systematic. Our future generations will find change much easier. It's going to be almost innate to them. I think they're going to be much more fluid. This is a hot topic now, like project management was 30, 40 years ago. In 20 years, everyone's going to have a department in their organization that focuses on change management.
I agree. I agree with you completely. And in fact, I have a client in the insurance industry right now where within the IT department, they have a role called change management. And it's exactly what you're describing. And I think what most project managers underestimate is the human equation. They really do. Like most project managers, I'm generalizing, but because they're so literally minded and they're about getting to a certain point, it's all about the metrics and the timelines and the achievements, forgetting that unless you got people on board with you, you're not going to meet those metrics anyway, right? So exactly. So I love your answer. So, just in the nature of time, what is your vision for the future of work? And where do you think, like, how is that going to impact Nelnet, strategically, obviously without revealing any proprietary secrets, but to the best of your ability? Yeah. What do you think the future looks like?
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of my answers are personal answers. So I'm not really revealing anything that,
Yeah, fair enough.
That planned. It's more of a personal observation. I'll start with the obvious. Hybrid workplace is here to stay. That's not going anywhere.
Yay! I've been saying that too.
Exactly. Yes. Not going anywhere. I think what we're going to have to really focus on, and I'm not just speaking to Nelnet, but in general, other organizations, because the hybrid workplace is here to stay, is continuing to explore that integration of my personal life with my work life, developing a healthy virtual culture. What does that look like for your company, for your organization? How do we make sure that we protect our associates from burnout? And also, how do we protect the newer, younger employees who are building their career from missing out? There was a fantastic interview with Malcolm Gladwell. I listened to it about 2-3 weeks ago, where he talked exactly on that subject of, when I was younger, it was so beneficial for me to be with others in the office because I could learn from them. Well, how do we translate this into a virtual life when maybe you're not as assertive or comfortable with making connections virtually? So that's going to be big. Another big one, I think we're going to notice that smaller companies, newer, younger, more fluid and nimble organizations will come up with clever ways to create very unique benefits. So we're going to have to keep up with that and invest in our associates in different ways. Maybe it's untraditional education, untraditional career paths. I don't know what that is, but we're going to have to be creative to keep up with that demand. And then again, paying special attention to tenured employees, avoid quitting, avoid withdrawal. I think that's the group that will be the most impacted by work environment changes. That change will be most vivid to them, because newer employees, they're just going to grow into it, fall into it. The tenured ones will really see the differences, and it's going to be impactful. And last but not least, I definitely want to stress and underline the importance of leadership and management. You've mentioned that leaders are so exhausted, but unfortunately, the next several years, guess what? Roll up your sleeves, because this is the time you have to be really engaged with your organization more than ever. This is the time where you really have to focus on delivery of communication. How are you approaching change? How are you fostering and really championing it? Also, really looking into models and that theory, adopting change management as a discipline. Similar to investing in culture, which I think all organizations are, and everyone's talking about culture and DEI. I agree. Those are huge, great topics to discuss. But alongside of those, we need to invest in proper change management. It really does make a difference.
Well, ironically, DEI and change go together.
Absolutely.
If you're going to increase, cultural diversity, gender diversity, that's change. And there's dialogue around that change. And so, right on, Marcelina. We could talk for hours. Anybody could get that. But I really enjoyed having you spend your time. Thank you for making the time to talk with me and with our listeners. And for everyone listening, you can watch on LinkedIn. I'll be posting the interview there. Also on Buzzsprout, on the Next Now podcast, and then also on our YouTube channel, Cheryl Cran. And I'll be linking to Marcelina when I do the LinkedIn post, so you'll be able to connect with her there if you want to. So, Marcelina, thank you for your time and energy and for your insight.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Take care. I'll see you, Cheryl.
Bye.